Where did this building come from? Was it this recreated in the last few years according to some detailed plans?
Now, this is the original 1903 El Paso County Courthouse on the National Register of Historic Places. It has been, over the last 30 years, since we moved in 1979, we have been slowly restoring it to its original glory, and you can see some of that, especially in the courtroom. And we're adapting it for use as a museum. Never intended for a museum, gives us some challenges, but it's a fantastic building. It's really one of the jewels of Colorado Springs, if not the state. And we're very fortunate to have it. And we only have it because citizens got together and stopped it from being destroyed when the courts moved out in the 1970s.
What are some of the architectural hallmarks of this building?
Well, it's what's called an Italian Renaissance design. It was designed by, we are in the Smith Gallery right now, and it was designed by A.J. Smith, for whom this gallery is named. It was his first and only architectural piece. He was not an architect, a career architect. He was hired to do this building. It was controversial from the beginning. It is a bit of a mishmash of styles. So if you walk through, you'll see all kinds of different influences in this building. A lot of the classical columns that you'll see in lots of other buildings. It's an Art Nouveau design, so there's lots of leaves included in the design, lots of human faces. One of these days I'm going to go around and count all of the different elements that you can see here. But we are currently doing an extensive study of the outside of the building to do a restoration of the facade. We're looking at probably $1 million project to make sure that the building is sound, it's tight. We want to do the restoration to make sure that the building can survive for another 100 years, can protect the collection, but also can continue to be a milestone for downtown.
What do you want to show the community about the Pikes Peak region in the early days?
Well, our mission is to preserve and interpret the history and culture of the Pikes Peak region, so we have very broad parameters that we can go by. Really what we're doing now is we're gearing up for the 150th anniversary of the Pikes Peak or Bust Gold Rush, which made the state what it is today. So in 1858, 1859, people came here looking for gold and created the state that we know today. So that's the focus that we're going to do. We're a history museum with an outstanding art collection. And so we use our art collection and all of our collections to help tell the story of who we are as a people, both before settlement and since 1859.
Now, I was looking at that medical exhibit in there, and it kind of dawned on me that if it weren't for tuberculosis, Colorado Springs probably wouldn't exist.
Not the way we know it today. UCCS is a former tuberculosis sanitarium. The city is dotted with the evidence of tuberculosis. The cemetery certainly has its element of tuberculosis history. So it's absolutely, we were a place where lungers or consumptives came to try to recover their health. Many did, a lot did not.
And a lot of luminaries and kind of people that ordinarily wouldn't have come here found their way here and contributed to the Colorado Springs.
And certainly from the culture cast perspective, the art scene was enormously impacted by tuberculosis. Artist Van Briggle, just to name one, who founded Van Briggle Pottery, came here to recover from tuberculosis in 1899. He lived for 5 years, died in 1904, but along the way he created this institution that is still going in Colorado Springs and created artwork that is highly collectible around the world. And that's just the kind of people that came here. People not only that could produce art, but people of means that wanted to buy art. So,
what kinds of things here surprise people, or are there those things here that people are, kind of gravitate towards or stare at for a long time and kind of wonder and marvel at?
I think the building is number one. I think when you hear the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum, when you hear that name, you may not think it's going to be in such an elegant building. And the way it's been preserved over the years. I think our art collection is another thing that people marvel about. The elevator. People love the elevator. You come here in the spring with school groups, you'll hear screams throughout the building as they're going up and down. The Van Briggle collection is something that people travel all around the world to see. So, everybody sees different things, and everybody picks up on different things and has different interests.
Also, in addition to the kind of museum aspect, I mean, you guys also house a lot of kind of records and things, right? Archives.
We have an extensive archival collection, about 80,000 historic photographs, 6,000 cubic feet of documents, which equates to millions of pieces of paper. People like me, historians, we could make careers just going through the papers and making sense of what it tells us about the past. And we've got the first photograph ever taken in Colorado Springs from the corner of Cascade and Pikes Peak Avenue, and what it looked like essentially day one. So that's the kind of documentation that we're trying to preserve, and we're here not only for exhibits and programs like we're doing and we're talking about today, but also just to make sure that legacy is preserved for future generations.
What's the importance of maintaining this museum? What's the importance of having a place where people can go and connect to the past in whatever region they live in?
Well, certainly in a community like this where we have a lot of people coming in from elsewhere, they may not stay very long. You need some way to connect to the place where you live. You need to have a way of developing a sense of place, of home. I think the other thing that we're trying to provide for the community is a sense of authenticity, that this place is different than every other place in the country, that it has a distinct past, a distinct present that is drawn from the past, and it has a future that it's all its own.